There's two types of agents in this market. The first one is quietly panicking, scrolling the MLS, hoping a referral rolls in and the phone rings. The other is confidently booking listings every week without chasing prospects and feeling like they're begging for business and burning out. So let me ask you this, which one are you right now? Because over the next few minutes, I'm gonna show you how to exactly become the second agent and why the second agent is winning. And if you're ready, how you could be next. This isn't theory, this isn't fluff. And this is how top producers are getting 2, 3, 4 deals every single month consistently using our proven trust, rapport, influence sales method. Let me tell you about the 3 universal truths in order to anchor in what the smart agents understand and the average agents don't. 1, agent who controls the leads controls the game. You can't rely on your brokerage to just hand you business anymore. That's not their job. Your income is tied to one thing, your ability to generate and convert leads at will. Number 2, people don't buy homes. They buy the next chapter of their life. If you don't know how to speak with emotion, if you don't know how to speak to their emotion, if you sound like every other agent saying the same thing since 2005, the market rewards connections, not cliche. And number 3, the market is always going to change, but the opportunity never disappears. It just shifts. And those who know how to adapt, to pivot and lead, those are the agents who win. Even in down markets like we're at right now, where the economists say that there's gonna be less than 4 million sales this year. TRIS agents are stacking closings after closings after closings, while the average agents are stuck complaining. So let me tell you something that most people don't know about me. Yes, I built a $250 million real estate business. I was one of the top 1% of agents and teams in the nation year over year, consistently producing. And from the outside looking in, I was crushing it. But deep down, I knew I wanted more. I actually left the real estate industry to chase bigger opportunities. I jumped into new ventures, I jumped into startups, I started all these things that I thought would take me to the next level. And instead, what I found was myself $1 million in debt. And it wasn't because I was lazy, that's not the case. It wasn't because I wasn't trying, that's not the case either, because I was working, I was trying. But because I was chasing without clarity, without guidance, and without the right people in the right rooms. I was embarrassed, I was stuck. I wanted to just crawl up in a ball and not talk to anybody, because while my friends were out enjoying the good life, I was trying to figure out how I was gonna pay rent. And for the first time in my life, I lost all my mojo. And then something happened that changed my life, my trajectory forever. I got on a call with my buddy Sharon Srivastava, a mentor, my friend, and somebody who truly believed in me. And he said something I'll never forget. Vic, it's not about doing more. It's about doing the right thing with the right people in the right room. And then he did something that still humbles me to this day. He said, how much money do you need right now? And I said, for what? He said, to be around the people who can rebuild you, to get into the right rooms. And I threw a number out. He paid for me to get into the right rooms. He lent me the money to join a high-level sales coaching program, not because I couldn't sell, but because I needed to rebuild and believe in myself. I needed to remember who I was. And I went to work, I showed up, I did the reps, I got the coaching, I did the trainings, I showed up to the calls, I wrote out my scripts, I did all the things that they told me to do. And within 12 months, my life changed. I was earning more money per month than I did in the previous year. And I got my, as Austin Powers would say, I got my mojo back, baby. I got my confidence, I got my life back, but more importantly, I found my purpose again. Out of that experience, we built what is now known as TRIS, the Real Estate Sales Academy. I realized something at that moment, something super powerful that I want to share. The right room changes everything. The Real Estate Sales Academy was built so that agents like you don't have to go through what I did. You don't have to guess your way forward. You don't have to do it alone, because most of us in this industry feel alone. We built this academy to be the room I wish I had when I first hit that wall. A room filled with the right strategies, the right accountability, but more importantly, the right people full of love. People that have been sitting in your exact shoes, that found the community and immediately had people pouring into them. Because it's not just about fixing your business, it's also about improving and fixing your life. I have a running joke, sales training, because this is bigger than scripts. This is bigger than just the right words on a page. This is about building a version of you that no longer doubts yourself, that no longer chases that business, that no longer hopes, but knows exactly how to win. Because what we do inside of TRIS, if you're ready to join the room, is exactly that. I want to walk you through kind of like how the 3 pillars of our program works. I want to break it down so that you can see why our clients are having life-changing experiences and results. Because it's not just about, right, the right words to say. It's a whole transformational process. Because as you go from 1 deal extra, 2 deals extra, and you make that 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, you become a better communicator. How does that show up in every aspect of your personal life? How does it show up in your relationships? When you can communicate better, when you can afford to buy your family the experiences that they're looking for. So pillar number 1 is our TRIS foundations. I say this is the rewiring of your sales brains for consistent closing. This is using human psychology. So let me paint a picture for you. You wake up today, you check your calendar, it's empty. How do you feel? Pretty discouraged. Where's your confidence? It's pretty low. Where's your excitement to help change the world? Pretty low. How do you think you show up for your family when you don't feel good about yourself? Let me paint a different picture. You wake up, you check your calendar, and there's appointments on it. Not with crappy tire kickers and let me think about it people, but they're qualified appointments. People that you are excited to talk about. People that see you as the expert in the market. Now compare that feeling to what most agents are feeling right now. Uncertainty. Getting told just make more calls and talk to more people, but you have no idea what to say. So you go out and spend all of your last dollars on leads and they just keep piling up because you lack the confidence, because of the lack of clarity, because the gurus from every stages say, do more, but more of what? A desk and an inbox full of perfect scripts. But guess what? Those perfect scripts sound like every other script for the last 20 years. And they didn't resonate with you when you first got them, and they don't resonate with you now. And imagine you're doing all of the things that the gurus say, but you're getting ghosted. You keep hearing the standard objection, well, we're not in a rush. We'll get back to you. You're grinding your face off and you're asking yourself, is it time for me to go get a job to support my family? And here's the truth. It's not because you're lazy. It's because you're actually saying the wrong things. You're using outdated scripts like LP Mama that was actually created in 1990 to qualify online leads. You're asking surface level questions. You're hoping to logically convince somebody that now's the best time to buy, but buying's all about the emotions. And guess what? Is this market not the hardest it's been since 2008? Do you see any break in the news cycle that this is going to become easier? Every morning, it seems like there's some new thing that the news is conjuring up to build fear in people. Here's the thing. Buyers and sellers don't choose agents based off of the facts anymore. They choose their agent based on how that agent was able to make them feel. They choose that agent based off of the agent's certainty in the process, how you made them feel during the conversation. Did you create confidence? Did you create clarity? Did you have a process that you were going to walk them through? Or did you just do what every other agent does to say, hey, we'll put you on a drip, and when you see a home, reach out to us. And that's what we created pillar number 1 for, the Trust Report Influence Foundations Academy. And inside of our online academy, we're going to rewrite the way you communicate using human psychology. We are going to use a scientifically backed, psychologically driven system that makes you unignorable. So no more getting ghosted. No more sounding like a scripted rookie. No more losing listens to agents with weaker skills but stronger delivery and belief. And no more chasing people down 32 times like the average agent in the industry. Now you're going to start hearing phrases like, oh my God, no other agent took the time to walk us through and explain to us like that. Nobody actually got to learn about me like you did. Nobody actually took the time to spend with me to walk me through what it takes to sell my home and to buy a home in today's market. I had no idea. You're going to hear things like, we want to move forward with you. Like, hey, what are the next steps to get working with you? Hey, so how do we get our house on the market with you? I want you to imagine that we had met 9 months ago. I want you to imagine if you had these foundational skills and you knew what to say and what not to say. I want you to imagine how many extra deals you would have closed by now. Is it 1 per month, 2 per month, 3 per month? You know, we have agents that are doing 4 open houses a weekend. They're doing 12 to 16 open houses a month. And when I ask him, how many appointments did you generate? How many sales? How long have you been doing this for? 7 months. I said, 7 times 4 is 28 times 4. It's like 100 open houses. And I would expect at least 5 to 10, 0. How much more confidence would you have walking into these appointments? What would your bank account look like now? More importantly, how would that make you feel? Because here's the thing, once you learn to speak the language of human psychology, the game changes forever. You become magnetic, you become certain, you become the leader of the conversation instead of chasing them. You become confident and you get that swagger that we all see, that the top agent who just knows that they can help sell anything to anybody. You just get that swagger because you have the confidence, you have the certainty, you have the process. So let me ask you, what would your business look like if the conversations you were having turn into listings and buyer agreements? What would your conversations be like with yourself, with your loved ones, with your mentors? Because let me tell you, that's the power of the TRIS Foundations, and we're just getting started. Pillar number 2 is our community. This is where I see so many agents die. We call this the silent killer of momentum for agents. You have what feels like a great conversation with the prospect. You feel the energy, they nod, they seem like they're totally engaged. And you go, this is it, I got him. And then at the end, they say, well, I just need to think about it. We want to interview a few more agents. We need to talk to our boyfriends, our sons, girlfriends, friends, boyfriends, dog walkers. It's 19 years old, just got their license. And we want to talk to them first to see what they think of the market. Can you follow up with us in 90 days? And just like that, another listing's lost. And you're left wondering, what could I have done differently? And the truth is, most agents lose deals, not because they don't try, not because they don't go on enough appointments. It's just they're converting at a 20% conversion ratio. They're converting 1 out of 5 people into an actual contract. And so while the industry's got you running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to find more leads, TRIS agents inside of our community are learning what to say to those people. They're learning exactly in our weekly coaching calls from myself and from our other top coaches. They're learning exactly word for word using human psychology to handle the objections, to prevent the objections, right? To get the frameworks, the structured frameworks, as I call them, so that you know word for word what to say to book your next appointment and win it with confidence. You'll finally be able to turn those years of uncertainty into yeses, into listings, and into paychecks. Let me share with you what I think really makes our TRIS community different. It's not just about tactics. It's about sales mastery. It's about self-mastery. And it's about working within a community that people love on each other and share with one another. It's a place where you can come to get the skills mastery. It's a place where you can come to get the sales mastery. It's a place where you can come to get the self-mastery, right? The discipline that if you had on your own, you wouldn't need us and you wouldn't be listening this far. But it's also to get other people that have literally been sitting in your exact seat very recently, who were feeling the same exact emotions you were feeling: lost, scared, fearful. Where's my next deal coming from? Oh my God, I gotta leave the family dinner and the barbecue to go show this house, because if I don't show them the house, they might go work with another agent. And they get to pour into you like the way the community poured into them. We're gonna place you into what we call tribes, which is our small, intimate pod of agents, led by a coach who's already gone through our program and has seen amazing results. A place where you can go and share the things that are actually scaring you without being in front of a group of hundreds of people. Now, this isn't about reading from a manual, right? This isn't about just regurgitating. This is learning from somebody who's lived your experience, somebody who's gone from stuck to scaling, and they know how to guide you the same way. Our large community brings our intensity, but our tribes, that's where the transformation happens. This is where we get to share our wins and our setbacks. This is where we get to talk about real life, not just work life, but the stuff that happens before your work hours, after work hours, and during work hours that take our minds away from work. The place where we get to share our fears and our insecurities, not just the sales scripts, but the real internal stuff that's been holding us back from becoming the person. And inside of our tribes, people will see you, they will feel you, they will acknowledge you, and they will listen to you. Because let's be honest, if we don't fix ourselves first, all the tactics in the world mean nothing. And it's sometimes not the objection that's the problem. Sometimes it's the way that we showed up in the conversation that caused the objection in the first place. And the reason why some of these scripts that don't work for you but seem to work for other people do is because that person's done the internal work. Sometimes it's not because you're stuck, not because you lack the skills, but because we haven't dealt with the self-doubt, the fear, the stories we've been telling ourselves for years that we keep telling ourselves that keep holding us back. Because until we clean the lenses, the world's a foggy place. And inside of your tribe, we are going to tackle the inner game. We are going to tackle the outer game. We are going to show you when it's time to talk to a seller, how to do it so you're not just prepared, but you're coming from a place of power and not from a place of force. You won't hesitate. You won't fumble. You finally become the sales leader, the leader that you know you are, the leader that's always been inside, waiting to come out. You get to become that. So let me ask you this. If you could walk into every appointment knowing exactly what to say, if you could walk into every appointment, more importantly, knowing with confidence who you were, if you could walk into every appointment with that kind of knowing when you show up that they're gonna say yes because you've done the inner work, you've done the outer work, you've done the skill building, the self-mastery, what would that do to your confidence? What would that do to your income? What would that do for your life? Because once you learn how to overcome the objections in your conversations and in your own personal mind, you're going to become unstoppable. And that's what this community is built for. And inside of our community, we're going to give you that tough love. It's going to take you to the next level. And as you can see from our WhatsApp group, where our agents actually support one another, our coaches and our tribe members support one another, where other groups, they talk a lot about like, hey, what's your GCI? How much money did you earn this week? How much is this? How much is that? Well, that's all great. But what I like to reward people for more than just the income that they're having is the leading indicators. And inside of our WhatsApp group, we're going to talk about the unsexy things that make business business. We're going to talk about the accountability, because I'm not here to be your cheerleader. I'm not here to high five your excuses. I'm not here to let another week goes by where you're pretending to figure it out, but you did absolutely jack nothing. I'm here to help you hit that goal, that 100K, that 200K, that 500K, 7-figure goal that you wrote down. I'm here to help you become the best version of yourself. Trust me, that doesn't just want your success, but I want to help you build that version of yourself that demands it of yourself. And that starts with one question. Are you open to being coached? Not hyped up, but actually coached. Are you open to hearing the truth, even when it stings? Because here's the reality. There is going to be a day, probably sooner than you believe, where your actions are not going to align with your goals, when you start slipping back into those old patterns, and when the old version wants to take over the new version that you're fighting, like a butterfly fights to grow into from a caterpillar. Well, guess what? You're going to have to go through that same transformation, because if you want to hit that 15, that 25, that 40, those 100K months, you're going to have to shed that old version of you for the new version. And in that moment, you don't need a pep talk. You need somebody that's going to look you dead in the eyes and say, hey, Bob, this version of you, this isn't the version who's going to get the 2 to 3 deals a month. This is the version that showed up here 30 days ago, 60 days ago. This is the version of you that stays stuck and lost and uncertain and unconfident. So let's get you back on track now, because that's what we do inside of the Trust, Rapport, Influence Sales Method. That's what we do inside of TRIS, the Real Estate Sales Academy. We hold you to a version that's stronger than your excuses, and we keep holding you to it until you rise up and you meet it, because we know something that most people don't. Your next level of income isn't blocked by tactics, it's blocked by patterns. And if nobody's watching your patterns, correcting your course, and calling you forward, you'll keep spinning your wheels like a truck in the mud, convincing yourself you're working hard when what you really need to be doing is something different in your work. So I'm going to ask you, I really want you to think about this. Are you actually okay with us holding your feet to a higher standard when it matters the most? Are you good with us telling you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, so that you can actually have the life that you deserve? Because if we can get a yes on that, everything changes. If not, then this isn't the right program for you. Because if you said yes, from this moment forward, your life changes, because you stop winging it, you stop hiding, and you start stacking wins, building confidence, and closing with certainty. You become a person that does what they says and says what they do. When you do this, You're no longer gonna just know what to do, because how many of us here love learning, right? Learning feels good, implementing does not feel good. So now you're not gonna be a person who's just learning, you're gonna be a person who's actually finally implementing. Because be real, what did you implement from your last training you went to? What did you implement from your last event? Because it's not about more training, it's about more of the community that builds with the training. Because if you're not in the room, you're just gonna stack more stuff on your desk, more scripts, more perfect things to say, more books that are talking about exactly what to say. But when it comes down to brass tacks, you fall back to your old training. Because we never level up to where we wanna be, we level up based off of our training. So we're not here just to build a better agent. We're here to build stronger leaders in business and life and in the real estate community. Let me ask you this question. How do you see this level of accountability helping you step into the version of yourself that doesn't miss, that doesn't question, the one who wins consistently? Let's find out together. Do me a favor, close your eyes and imagine that it's 90 days from now. You've plugged into the TRIS method. You've plugged into the Real Estate Sales Academy. You plugged in to your tribe and your community. You've plugged in to the frameworks. You plugged in, and now your calendar's packed with high quality appointments. And now you're consistently closing that 1, 2, 3 extra deals every month. How does that feel? More than the income though. How does it feel to have the clarity and the confidence? How does it feel to be the actual driver of the car that you own, that finally out of the passenger seat, you're finally back into the driver's seat? Maybe it's the first time you've ever been there. How does it feel to have that confidence? How does it feel to not second guess what you're saying? How does it feel to not chase leads down anymore? Because now in that first conversation, they actually want to work with you and they're booking appointments. No more wondering if this is the right training. Should I be working on my social media more? Should I be doing this? How would it feel if you're no longer having to hustle for every deal and you have a system that pulls people towards you instead of you having to chase them down? How would it feel when somebody comes up to you in 3 months and says, hey, what shifted in your business? And you look them dead in the eyes and you smile and say, well, I made a decision. Because that is what's needed right now. This is the fork in the road. This is the time to make the decision. You've seen the roadmap, you've seen the proof, you know how this works. Now you get to decide. Do you want to stay on the same path, doing the same things, or will you look back on this day 3 months, 6 months, 9 months from now and be grateful to yourself today for your future self? Grateful that today you made the decision and you finally said yes to building the version of yourself and your business that you know you're capable of and you know that you're proud of. Are you gonna look back and is your future self gonna say, I'm so proud of you. You stepped in when you were scared and fearful. You leaned in to change your life? Or is your future self gonna say, yeah, 6 more months, let's see what happens? Because this is your moment. This is the moment. So what I want you to do is I want you to click the button below and apply. We're opening this up to a small group of serious agents that are ready to move. Because in 6 months, one of 2 things will be true. You'll either be celebrating your best year ever, or you're gonna be wishing you started today. So the choice is yours, but I hope that I get to see you on the inside. Cheers.